football, bloody hell. But they never give in. And that's the winner.
Welcome to the American Red Devils podcast. I'm John.
I'm Alex.
And we're bringing you the best Manchester United news from this side of the pond.
Woo, sir. How we doing? We're talking news. It is United in the news for the American Red Devils. Last week of the transfer window, things are heating up. A lot of business left to do, ins and outs. Ugarte, we got a youngster that a lot of us hadn't heard about before. Sancho deal, a lot of rumors. Guess what? His wages are still being the issue. Who would have guessed that? But big time. Last 7 days, a lot of work to do, in terms of finishing strong. I think really at this point, let's get Ugarte, sell a couple of players. If we could dish Sancho, I think that'd be a huge win for Manchester United. But it's not how you start, it's how you finish. They've had a very, very good window thus far. Now I think it's just about finishing strong. You got to once you get Ugarte in, it's all gravy from there. Ugarte is the last must get. We need a CDM and we need it now. But other than that, I think everything else is the cherry on top. So how you feeling headed into the last week of the transfer window, given the business United's already done, the business left to be done? How are we feeling at this point?
Like I said, I'm absolutely buzzing about Ineos, and I'm watching how they're making all their moves, right? Like you said, the young kid, Sekou Kone, super excited about this one. 18-year-old kid from Mali featured at the U17 World Cup. They got third place, beat Argentina 3-0. He's running the midfield. This in addition to Cheeto, Obi Martin, the youngster coming from Arsenal. It's like Ineos is not only working on the first team, they're working on the next generation of all-stars for Manchester United. And I love these moves. These moves are the ones where you're like, it's the chef's kiss to a transfer window. It's not getting a lot of shine, but you watch the highlights of these kids. They're coming up in the game, and Ineos is thinking for the future, right? How many years for Cheeto and Sekou are going to be featuring for United? That gets me really excited because this is a long-term rebuild. Ineos is already making moves in the youth academy, and I love it.
No, these are the type of transfers I care more about than the $50, $60, $70 million signings, right? $1.5 million for a youngster, so low risk. These are the type of signings we used to do all the time under Fergie. Scrappy players. Who's this guy, Chicharito? I've never heard of him. Oh, look, they have good value. And, what have we seen in the last really 7 years? Is actually the scouting department is pretty good. It's just that nobody's there buying them. So we flagged Moises Caicedo, £4 million. They didn't sign him, went to Brighton. We know how that movie ended. Julian Alvarez, he was available in the teens, and he just went for $80 million from City to Atletico. So this is what you got to be doing. Low risk. A player where we need reinforcements in, right? He's a CDM, this kid. He's a great passer, good dribbler. And it just shows that Ineos are thinking the right way. It's not all about first-team signings. It's about the Cheetos. It's about the Sekous. And that's how you build a team. That's how you think long-term and build for the future, because it's not all about first-team signings, bro. We have to have an elite academy. We do, but we should have the best in the world. And I think we're working on that.
We are working on that, and quick PSA for the podcast. We are working on our new YouTube channel. Please check it out. Go to YouTube, search American Red Devils, subscribe to our channel, like, comment, do all those things. It makes a huge difference for our YouTube. So if you're thinking about it, it's free, and you should be asking yourself, what can I do to support the Muppet Take? Support the home of the Muppet Take on YouTube, the American Red Devils. Please subscribe, check it out. Also, you can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/American Red Devils. Behind-the-scenes episode every single month. If you need more of the Muppet Take, go to Patreon. It is the creme de la creme of the American Red Devils community. Also, check out our store. Great merch. We got the famous Avram Glazer Clown Nose tee.
Collector's item.
We got hats. We got shirts. We got scarves. Viva Garnacho scarf, sir. Get it while they last. Also, stickers, beanies, posters, everything that your Muppet heart desires. Also, check out our website, AmericanDevils.com. Great fan-generated blog content. If you need more of the Muppet Take, please check it out there. Sir, tell them about iTunes reviews.
iTunes reviews and 5-star reviews of the American Devils wherever you listen. It's a great way to support the pod. Helps us get found organically by other top Muppets like yourself. And we're still giving away free merch. I just did a huge shipment. All you have to do is write a 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify. Send a screenshot of that review to AmericanDevils@gmail.com with your mailing address, and I'll personally pick, pack, and ship some free ARD gear. Send it right to your door anywhere in the world. Keep it coming. Keep those reviews coming, sir. Let's talk about some news.
United in the news, sir. Transfer Muppetry only lasted for another week.
I'm going to miss it.
I'm not.
It's been fun this summer. They actually, instead of pontificating about signing a player for 6 weeks and just dragging it out for the sake of dragging it out, they just been, okay, can we get Brainworth? No, okay, next guy. They're not fucking around. They're not playing for the papers like Ed Woodward used to.
Unfortunately, Facundo Pellistri, thanks for coming out. He is headed off to Greece. Panathinaikos, sir.
Well done.
That was not well done.
That's better than I would have done.
I bottled that one. €6 million fee, sell on buyback. We like this deal. We've discussed it. You're a big fan of Facundo, but this is a legacy Glazer, Woodward, Arnold. They bought Facundo, Ahmad, Sancho, loaded the right wing, Anthony.
Crazy.
Like, how could you look at the team and think we need more wingers? And so he never could ever break into the team, loaned to oblivion, and was just behind the 8 ball because of bad front office management. And so ultimately, it's nice that we get to let the youngster free. We get benefits on buyback and sell on. I wish him well. We can cheer for him in the Greece League, and I'm sure we're going to be seeing highlights on socials if he does well, because he might be coming back to Manchester United. I think he has potential. I really liked him with his dribbling, cutting in off the wing. So, there's something there, but Manchester United didn't do well at developing him.
No, we haven't. And we've done a very poor job up until Ineos coming in, right? We've seen that. We've managed players so poorly. We've done these horrible loan deals. Like, guess what? Do not loan anyone to Sevilla ever again. Never works. And Facundo, same recipe. So it's funny. It's like they signed Ahmad and Facundo in the window when we were trying to sign Sancho. Sancho wouldn't move. They wanted like 110 million pounds. Remember that crazy nonsense? And then they ended up signing these 2 players. And at the end of the day, the best 2 players that we signed for the right wing, given attitude, competency, upside, is probably Facundo Pellistri and Ahmad. That window is probably the 2 players to stick with. Anthony's a bluffer. We know that. Sancho needs to get out of the squad as well. So wishing Facundo all the best. I wish it worked out differently. We didn't give him any chances to really succeed here, but I think he'll have a decent little career. Greece, I wish he would have settled in a top 5 league, but I hope he finds his feet, because he's always been a good kid. He's always talked very positively about Manchester United. So, one Uruguayan out, one Uruguayan apparently on the way in. But yeah, Facundo we missed. All-time name, Facundo. That's a badass.
It is. And then we're going to get into our next signing here. The youngster we talked about on the intro, Sekou Kone from Mali. I mean, what a player. Young. He's a destroyer, sir. In the middle of the park. CDM. Raw talent. Youngster coming up in the game of the U17s. I like signing these prospects, these international players featuring and doing well in the U17 tournaments. Got to bolster the youth academy. Like you said, there is low risk, high upside. I like this strategy from Ineos. Excited for the youngster to come join. But this is a numbers game, right? Because you have to just sign the Cheetos and the Sekou Kones of the world. Probably need 8 of them for maybe 1 or 2 to really come good and be that 100 million pound sale or world-class midfielder for Manchester United.
Right, like Kobe becoming a $100 million player, so you don't have to go buy him elsewhere.
Or Garnacho, right?
Also, another $100 million player, at least, both of them. So Kone fits the profile, 18 years old, right? Like you said, he is a CDM. He's not quite the same destroyer as Ugarte because he's a much better passer. He's got progressive passing. He can do long passing. He's a good dribbler.
Think Kamavinga.
Yeah, exactly. But he's young and he's a little skinny. He needs to put on some weight, which he will, because he's young, right? He's still probably going through, his evolution. So
he needs to get in that North Jersey football weight room.
Yeah, they're going to throw him up in Manchester, where it's going to be a little bit different weather than Mali. He's already playing in a league. Obviously, it's not a big league, but he's playing against adults. That's something to be said. I think he's going to feature the U21s this season. A player for the future. The type of signings we should be making. Cheap, good. That could turn great, right?
Prospects, dude.
That's what you need, man.
This is like what
$1.5 million is nothing.
This is like obvious. It's like what we should be doing, what we should have always been doing, and it's like right at this age, right when they can go pro, they can get their visa. It's like
another good point.
And I just United should be stacking like the top talent in the U17, like U18 like area, and it looks like we are. Ineos' strategy, unbelievable, and like you said, he has featured for. Can't pronounce it, sir. Guidars FC.
Yeah, I don't know.
Guidars,
Guidars. I don't know, man.
He plays
Mali.
He plays in Mali. So look,
he plays.
we're talking upside with this one.
He
has 12 caps for Guidars, so I can't comment there. But again, they did make it to third place at the U17 World Cup with the big 3-0 win over the Argentinian U17 team. So again, one for the future. Very excited to track this one. Just like Cheeto, the two signings of the summer that get me really excited. These have to be the two, because I think in 2 or 3 years' time, you're going to be like, whoa, they're going to be breaking in the first team. And it's such an exciting time. Great to see players from the academy coming through at Manchester United.
And you can say the same for Lenny. It's like all three of those players in really key positions where we signed like literally top 3 talent in terms of age group for the position. So you have somebody center back for the future, midfield for the future, and striker for the future. So that's what I'm talking about.
And then we're going to get on to the sandwich, Jadon sandwich.
He's getting passed around, man. That sandwich is getting passed around.
So if Jadon Sancho was a sandwich, sir, given that, New Jerseyans love a deli, and you can know your way around a deli menu. You do know your way around a North Jersey deli menu. If he was a sandwich, you go into the North Jersey deli, and there's the Jadon sandwich. What is on the Jadon sandwich?
He's like, I was trying to think about this, and you put me on the spot. He's like, he's like tuna salad. Like sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not so good, and you never know what you're gonna get.
And sometimes you eat it, it goes bad, and you don't have it for like a year.
Right,
or two.
exactly.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's awesome, and like some delis really know how to do it. Shout out the one in Spring Lake; they got a solid one by the train station. But sometimes you eat it, you're like, what was I thinking?
Tuna salad lets you down more than chicken salad.
Without a doubt, chicken salad's usually solid.
Yeah, exactly. So so just tuna, white bread. That's it. You got nothing like
that's
tomato,
That's not like a real
lettuce.
Jersey sandwich. But I was just like, I don't want to complicate things. Start throwing in fucking like pepperoni and less tomato.
He's probably like a tuna salad with pepperoni, like Thousand Island dressing on like rye. Something like a weird sandwich.
That's complicated.
But either way, speaking of letting us down, Jadon Sancho.
Yeah, speaking of letting us down,
there's a lot of big money signings letting Manchester United down
new?
As a collective fan base. And look, this is one of those things where a little concerning. There's a few different angles you got to unpack on this one.
Yep.
Number one, he came back, kumbaya with Ten Hag, kumbaya, right? So
it lasted for like a week.
That lasted for like no, but there's multiple parties involved in this, right? So they kumbaya. Sancho's in the team, playing in preseason, looking good. Like he could be a player. He could be someone that United could use. Then all of a sudden, I think other teams are like picking up on like, hey, Sancho's actually good. He did play well for Dortmund, playing well for United. Okay, there's interest. Then they start protecting him, taking him out of the squad.
That's what they did.
That kind of separates him from the kumbaya environment. And that's not going to help a player like Sancho feel connected to the environment or like help the manager mend that relationship if we can't sell him and he has to come back in. And so what we're starting to see is like PSG fading away. Juventus ain't going to pay big money for Jadon Sancho and then take his wages off the books.
No way.
So unfortunately, I think United got ahead of their skis a little bit as far as thinking there was a solid offer for Sancho on the table. And it looks like the ocean has receded and nobody is there for the taking. And that is going to create another uphill element for Jadon Sancho to get back into the squad if we can't sell him, and that's an issue for Erik ten Hag. But this is just the way it's going. So I feel like we overplayed our hand a little bit. I would like to see him play and feature in the games just to be like, hey, we don't know if we're going to sell him. He's a good player, and that creates a little more leverage for United. But we've definitely lost some of that leverage taking him out of the squad, and everyone knows we want to sell him, and that drives the price down. And it's going to make the deal harder to be done. So there's a little bit of unpacking this type of deal here.
That's a very good point. I think like they do the normal, take a player out that maybe is advancing from a transfer perspective. Very, very typical. But like you said, lost momentum. Apparently pissed off Jadon Sancho. Like shocker
exactly.
There. He doesn't like to be left out. And at this point, the wages are going to kill you. The player has talent, but they're paying him like top money. Insane deal. Same reason we can't sell Lindelof apparently. Same reason it kind of slowed down the AWB deal, right? It was wages. It's these fucking wages, this legacy deal. It's going to take a while to unwind. This is kind of the Woodward.
We have a week. Otherwise, he's back on the books.
He's probably going to be back on the books.
And then it's like...
It's not going to be good. It's not going to be good because...
I think they botched it. I think...
He's already going sour, bro. He's already going sour.
There's only one way to do this and basically say, like,
give him away.
He's not for sale. He's playing. And keep him playing on the team. And then you sell him, like, last-minute shock sale. Like, that... They kind of led into, like, the interest led to them taking him out of the squad.
That's definitely true.
And I think it's going to mess with the dynamic. And it's like he was playing well in preseason, and there was a dynamic there that I think we could have used him against Brighton.
He's better than Anthony.
Yeah, that's what. And it's like, and if you don't sell him, it's like, this is one of those things where it's just like, man, this team, we just don't. There's the margin for error is so thin.
They have so much to do. I mean, they have so many. They inherited a fucking mess. And to be fair, they've done a very admirable job. They've done an above admirable. They've done a great job making moves, getting rid of Donny Van de Beek, getting rid of Mason Greenwood, bringing in new players. This was Anthony will be impossible, but this one was always the hardest that was possible this window because of the wages. So they were playing a dangerous game, and I think, like you said, it's like I think we lost our chance because Juve ain't paying this, bro. Italy doesn't have money.
Juve means it's done.
No, that means it's over.
Another loan.
It was Chelsea or PSG. That was the only chances.
Right, let's get what does the transfer show have to say here?
Before the break, we said that a number of European clubs were exploring the potential of a deal to sign Jadon Sancho in the final days of this transfer window. Well, now we can report Juventus have a firm interest in signing Sancho. They're exploring the conditions of a deal. Crucially, talks over personal terms are thought to have taken place. Now, remember, Sancho has 2 years left on his contract, a significant contract when you consider the wages.
Significant.
With the option for a further deal. Juventus, one of the clubs trying to do a deal at the start of this window, couldn't meet the valuation which United had then, which is around £40 million. We're not sure whether United have budged on that with the days ticking down to the end of the transfer window.
It's like, here's the thing. Here's the thing. You want to know something? It's going bad behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And we are desperate to sell him, and everybody knows, and there's blood in the water, and Sancho doesn't want to. Dude, Sancho, it's a toxic, bad situation. United are gonna get like nothing for Jadon Sancho. They were banking on probably 30, and they got over their skis. And I guarantee you, that's why the Ugarte deal. Like, I bet you there was serious money on the table for Sancho that fell through, and that's why Ugarte hasn't come in. Like, it's totally linked.
Which is why our next story, Ugarte, the deal keeps changing. We're hearing straight buy. We're hearing loan with, obligation to buy, loan with option to buy. We have no idea.
I hate this deal now. I'm like,
I hate this deal. He hates the deal.
I'm telling you right now.
Why do you hate the deal? Talk to me.
I don't like these long deals. It's expensive now. And it's one of those things where it can only go bad. Like there's such little, like £50 million for a CDM.
The amount hasn't been confirmed, but that would be too much.
That'd
be too much.
If it's a £50 million straight up deal and then plus add-ons, and it's like the upside for Ugarte, while we want him, it's like you almost kind of like, you look at all the stats, everyone's so biased, and they all want him, and they think he's going to solve all their problems. And he comes, and most likely he will not solve all their problems. And then it turns into this whole like, it's like we're too focused on one player type of thing, and we think it's going to solve everything. When it's like, hey man, what about Ivan Toney? Like, hey man, what about a striker? And so it's like you got to pivot. And I don't like that we've kind of been in this transfer marathon with Ugarte. And I think you kind of have to watch this team right now and be like, Casemiro's all right. Like, we're probably not going to sell McTominay. Do we need Ugarte right now, or do we need goals? And we need goals. And so I would pivot from Ugarte, where earlier in the season, this is probably the more like responsible, Casemiro's going to get injured type of signing. And it's like, hey, look, we just got to make do in the midfield. Hope we don't have an injury crisis, but we need goals. We need a striker. We only have 2. We need 1 more. And if Sancho isn't going to play for us, goals are going to be a huge, huge issue. And we can't sell him for any money. So I would pivot from him to striker. This week, I've just gone full panic Muppet. We need a striker. You
got to keep your heads when everyone else around you is losing theirs, sir. I think we need both. I totally agree. There's an argument.
But you had to pick one.
There's an argument to be made if we're going to keep Sancho. He's going to play. He's going to offer some goal threat.
Yes.
I like Ugarte, but like you said, if it's at £50 million, Amadou Onana. He went to Villa. He's a fucking great player. He's EPL proven. He has more upside than Ugarte.
Yeah, but we can't buy him. So like,
I know,
Ugarte or Toney, $50 million. What would you do right now?
I'd do Ugarte because he's a player for the future. Tony's older, more hair on it with the whole gambling thing. I think Ugarte, like,
striker.
Here's the thing. I know we need a striker, but today we gave up 2 very preventable goals. You have to imagine like strengthening from the back. I know we need goals, but we also need to tighten up shop because those goals both were preventable. I know we made some mistakes.
He's not playing there though. He's not playing in those positions where we conceded, and it's like we're not creating. I don't know.
This is not easy. This is why
Ugarte's you have to also admit that like Ugarte has good stats.
He does.
But like Paul Scholes said this week about Ugarte, it's like you need someone who has the mind to control the game. Like you look at who's the best player in that position in the world. It's Rodri. Why? Because he controls the game. He can make a challenge, but it's more about his presence and knowing when to slow it down, knowing when to speed it up, how to distribute the ball. And it's like if you just have a guy who's a destroyer, it's like you need more of that. You need a general. I would argue that
That's Bruno. That's Kobe.
they're not the general as far as like that last man before the defense. I got it one-on-one. Things break down. I bail it out. Like that type of like calm presence there. If you look at Rodri, is Ugarte a Rodri? And at Manchester United, that's what we have to be finding next Rodri. Like that's the player we need in that position.
And he's not.
And 50 million, if Ugarte's not that player, is it the right player to make that big of an investment? I hope he comes in. I hope he is that guy, but I'm just saying that's what I would think about for that type of check. If this was 25 plus add-ons, Ugarte all day.
Yeah, it's all about the deal. It's all about what price. But maybe like he allows our two center backs in De Ligt and Martinez to be that role, right? With a high line, he bails them out, and then they can just spray passes because, I don't know, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm not a tactical expert.
Are they better than Fred? You know?
Yeah.
Like it goes back to
Fred,
we got rid of Fred. We could have signed him on an extension, and I said we should not get rid of him. I don't rate him, but replacing Fred has been very difficult. He would have been a very useful player. He came out last week, said he was hurt for leaving United. He would have stayed.
Everyone wants to stay. Everyone wants to stay.
And it's like, that was a player where it's like, look, he's not perfect, but it has been hard to replace that player.
I know, but we complained a lot about Fred. Everybody complained about Fred.
But you don't know what you got until it's gone.
I know.
So
I know.
Like,
he's a useful player. I mean, he was a useful body.
Because he's the hybrid between like, can make a challenge and then can go forward. And
I know, but he was bad passing and he made a lot of mistakes.
But you would take him on the bench at United now.
Of course.
Of course. And you wouldn't need to sign Ugarte because of it. And then you would outlay the $50 million for a striker. And, you know, I'm trying to find creative solutions here because McTominay's not that guy.
No, he's not.
He's turned into a number 10 now. And so it's completely gone the other way where we got rid of Fred, thought McT would be the CDM, and it's kind of switched up on us.
Yeah, but if Casemiro gets injured, we're fucked. So there is an argument to be that. Like
McTominay plays there.
Yeah, but he's not good at 6. Like you said, he's an 8, he's a 10. He can play there, but he's not great being the holder. He can play.
I think you can survive this season with the midfield. We have Eriksen too. And and you're not going to get rid of him either. So it's like, or you're not going to generate a lot of cash for him either. So you kind of have to look at your options. And right now, I'd run the midfield as is. I'd run the midfield as is, and I'd go all in on a striker because we played 2 games, 3 games including Community Shield, and not having a number 9 kills us. Xerxes, like to put it all on Xerxes if Højlund's have injury problems is not right. You need another body in there, a youngster or a loan or something. We need another body at striker. Need somebody.
Yeah, you need both, really. So the move would be like loan Ugarte, full price ticket, obligation to buy next summer, and be like, fuck it, we don't want to pay that much, but we just need a body, and we can't outlay the cash. And then you go, Tony hasn't moved to Saudi yet, bro. It's like you can get it. You could definitely get it for like 30, 35 because they just want to get rid of him. Brentford, that is.
No, totally. So I think Ineos is going to be in the mix. It's going to be interesting to see where this comes out. We'll be tracking it all week and obviously get you a pod that reviews Manchester United's transfer window when it closes in earnest, sir. We're going to end on this tweet for the news. Henry Winter has come out swinging. Game week 2, Bruno Fernandes, he says, Bruno Fernandes is undeniably annoying, moaning and arm-waving, but he obviously cares about Manchester United's results and performances, and he does bring creativity and a goal threat, even some pressing. Interesting substitution by Ten Hag for a team chasing victory. He's kind of kicking Fernandes and then complimenting Fernandes. What do you make about this Henry Winter Times guy here?
I mean, I think the end of it's the more important point, right? We talked about that in the recap, which is like it made no sense to bring off our own, not our only, but our main creative outlet in Bruno Fernandes. We completely fell off against Brighton afterwards. I just think this is like such an overplayed trope in English fucking media. It's like, yeah, he's a moaner. Have you watched Manchester City play? Have you watched them fucking play? They all fucking moan constantly. I know he's a moaner, but half the league is moaners, bro. Have you watched Arsenal play? This moaning is taken off the league, so it's like he gets fucking criticized, just like United get overly criticized, and some of our rivals don't. So fuck Henry Winter.
Woo!
Go fuck yourself. I get it, but like Bruno's an undeniable. He's like the best 10 in the league, bro. It's like, I don't know. I just think I don't like how they always go after our boy. It's because it's United. It's because he's the captain. And guess what? If he was playing in Spurs or Liverpool, nobody would touch him the same way. They wouldn't.
He's playing like Cristiano. He goes left, he goes right. He's the best in the shot. He's the Portuguese back, and he goes.
Our last great chant. It's literally our last great chant. We haven't had a new.
It is.
We haven't
It
had a
is.
new
It
banger
is.
since. Like that. And that was what 5 years ago, 4 years ago.
Look, Henry Winter. Look, as somebody who's complained about the moaning of Bruno Fernandes, like, I can definitely say it's not a big deal. You know?
Right? It's not a big deal.
And you know what changed my mind? Watching him play when I was in Germany, watching him play for Portugal in the Euros. He's just a dog, dude. He's just part of his game.
He is.
Players know it. It's like you get on the pitch, he's hot. He's
emotional.
Hot, like, hey, but you know what? He's an amazing player. He's a leader. Like, you see him at training, the new United behind the scenes on YouTube, their training videos. He's like helping the players go through the paces. It's just like when he steps on that, crosses that line, that dog comes out. And look, you got to accept that part of his game. It's like, I just feel like it's just a cheap shot from Henry Winter. Manchester United is going to be getting cheap shots, especially if we get beat by teams like Brighton. That's going to continue. Hated, adored, never ignored.
No, well said. It's just like, we get it, but you're right. It's like, he's a great player. There's plenty of moaners in the league. And I just think at this point, it's just like, it's old hat, dude. They love to be like, oh, he's a moaner. Like, yeah, so what? Who gives a fuck? He's created the most chances. The last 4 years, every single year, he's created the most chances in the league by a mile. So, magnifico,
The problem
bro.
is we're not finishing the.
Yeah, I agree.
You always
But
go to that stat, but it, like,
that's
it's
relevant. If he was on a good team, he'd be
like,
he'd be like the assist
we
leader.
almost created, we created a lot of chances, but didn't score, so they didn't mean anything. Well,
it's not his fault.
No, I know. It's just like, it's not the, like,
Henry
used to
Winter.
be like, we
Used
used
to be good.
we used to be like, hey, we scored the most goals in the league, or we won the most games, or we won the league. And now we're like, we created the most chances. It's like,
Most clean sheets, we got nothing,
Chances.
bro.
We
We
got
got nothing, bro.
chances.
We got nothing. We're
like,
grabbing
you know that
whatever we
card
can.
of Monopoly, the chance. You get the chance.
Yeah.
That's like what we got.
We have chance and they just throw it away.
Like, we go to Brighton away, we're like, can I get a chance? Can I get a chance card?
No, you can't.
Look, that's the podcast. If you like the America Red Devils, you like the Muppet Take, please support us. Subscribe, YouTube, drop your comments. If you disagree about anything we said on the United News, let us know. We'll read out your comments on the podcast. Check out our store, AmericaRedDevils.store. Support us on Patreon, patreon.com/AmericaRedDevils. Store, give us our top $10 last 7 days.
Number one, how you doing? How you doing? Chicago, Illinois, Dublin, Ireland, New York, Los Angeles, California, Brooklyn, New York, Houston, Texas, Oslo, Norway, Philadelphia, PA, Charlotte, North Carolina, and last but not least, San Francisco, California. Appreciate all the American Devils listening week in, week out. Couldn't do it without you. Always darkest before the dawn. We got 1 week left in the transfer window. It's going to be a big week for Ineos. Big week, finish strong. It's been a hell of a window. Let's finish on top. If they could somehow get fucking Sancho out and Ugarte in, regardless of holes still to be filled.
Scouse bastards.
I know.
Coming down the pipe,
Can't
need a
wait.
win, need a dub, 3 points. Let's go. We do what we want.